Hello and welcome back, adventurers. Sit back, get comfy, and let me tell you of those unfortunate enough to call themselves Souragnes. There are two very distinct races of people in Souragne. The first are people of light skin with darker shades of hair ranging from reds to browns. The second race is very different, with dark brown skin and black hair that varies widely from kinky to straight. Both groups refer to themselves equally as Souragnians and think of themselves as native to the land. However, only the darker-skinned peoples are truly natives. The fair-skinned Souragnes are settlers who came to the land many centuries ago. For such historically divided people, the Souragnians are remarkably united in language and culture. While the history talks of slavery, and common sense would imply racial tensions, this is simply not the case. The two people are as one, equals under the eyes of law and society. This is not to say that all Souragnes are equal. There is a vast social divide between the rich and the poor. The landowners, merchants and wealthy are all considered the elites, an aristocracy that wields the power in the land. Anyone who has no property, goods or money is considered poor and can be beaten or worked to the point of death. Workers are paid in pittance, a small token sum barely enough to cover the necessities. Many employers deduct the cost of food and lodging from these wages and put the workers upon their own land. Others simply let the workers find their own way. Debt also forces people into hard labor, as the law requires those unable to pay to perform services for those whom they are indebted. Landowners are not required to pay their indentured help higher wages, nor does the law place restrictions on the interest. The aristocracy is simply interested in the continuation of their status. Most of the true elites have been rich for generations and have a stranglehold on the best lands, the fertile fields, and the best trading routes. There is little threat of them losing their position or being usurped. There are but a few of these true aristocrats, less than 24 families in the entire land. Caught in the middle between the elites and the poor are the owners of local businesses, skilled craftsmen, and the minor aristocrats. They walk a tenuous line between having a lot of money and having none. Souragnes conduct themselves about their business with as much grace and pride as they can muster. The commoners have a dignity all their own and refuse to be beaten down or have their spirit crushed. From sun up until sundown, they toil in the fields, tending to livestock and crops. As the aristocrats are followers of Ezra, they respectively give their workers 1 day of rest every week. So every 7th day, the common folk retire from the fields and are not required to work. Many workers ignore this, however, and continue to labor for some extra money. A few commoners are rewarded with easier tasks and rank. They continue to live with their other commoners, but are paid more, treated better, and given a modicum of authority. They are expected to maintain discipline among the others. The elite live a different life. They live off the efforts of their workers, they amuse themselves with various leisure activities, such as games and dinner parties. They concern themselves with the trivialities of the dining, grand dances, and the latest of important fashions. A typical day is first spent tending to a few daily duties, such as organizing the help and seeing to one's legal and financial affairs. Evenings are usually devoted to social activities, small gatherings, parties, or the like. Social gatherings take up a disproportionate amount of time for preparation. Some take weeks to ready for, but a single night. Some aristocratic families are known across the island for a specific seasonal ball, and there is a constant competition to hold the best and most entertaining bash of the year. By far the grandest party of the year is Mardi Finale. Every year on the last Tuesday of February, the population of Port d'Allure holds Mardi Finale, a city-wide festival filling the streets with music and dance. Celebrated by both upper and lower classes, most of the attractions require no money. Seniors scowl at the festivity weeks before it occurs, yet are still among the crowds, wearing a decorative mask. The week after Mardi Finale is a different situation. The Ezran clergy strictly dictate that this week is a time of fasting, prayer, and self-reflection. The clergy take no part in Mardi Finale itself, rather they spend time preparing for the week following. The streets at night can get quite eerie during this week, as one cannot help but hear inhuman moans of anguish soar from the penitents. Literacy is all but unknown on this land. Only a scant few have any knowledge of reading and writing. Even amongst the aristocrats and seigneurs, there are precious few literates. It is seen as a useless skill and a waste of time. There is a remarkable and willing ignorance of the past. and what little science, philosophy, and knowledge is quickly being forgotten in favor of superstition and myth. As mentioned, games are a favorite diversion of the wealthy, another example of the competitive nature of the Souragne. Card games are currently in fashion, and every good gathering has a card table readied. Games are firmly equated with gambling in Souragne. Even friendly sessions at a gathering or party are made interesting with some liberal wagering. What starts as a simple game of bridge can quickly become a devastating blow to one's purse. Souragne does not have a single political leader, so each settlement has its own ruler. That figurehead mayor is the voice of the wealthy seigneurs, and the election of the intendant is always the occasion of intrigue and soft-spoken deals between the powerful families. The intendant and the council of the seigneurs know better than to ignore the Lord of the Dead. When they receive a commandment from him, it is quickly obeyed. However, whenever they can, they are likely to remind the workers and foreigners that they are the dominant force of the Souragne. The common folk have a very earthy lifestyle with an emphasis on nature and the living world. Their religion is important and plays a dominant role in their life. Everything is thought of in relation of the spirits. The spirits and law are consulted on every major decision. Prayer is frequent and small offerings are left on altar every day. This belief in the spirits colors all activity, as one must be careful not to offend any law, either your own patron, whom you worship directly, or any of the others. Failure to observe etiquette leads to illness. The sick are blamed for causing their own disease, and, predictably, the cure for the illness is to make amends to the offended spirit or the sorcerer. There are two views of magic to the commoners: the magic of the spirits and the law, and the magic of death and corruption. While the power of the law is respected and feared, for it is the power of hurting as well as healing, it is still viewed as natural. Only that magic which has a parallel with the law, that of necromancy and healing, is permitted. Arcane magic is not, and it is seen as an abomination, a twisting of the land. A frequently cited legend says that it was magic that sank the land and raised the waters to the west, turning much of the island into the swamp. Thank you so much for your time, patient listeners. When traveling to Souragne, remember, only offer help when it is asked for. You do not want to insult these people. But for now, as always, be careful while crossing the mists.